China had a high-profile visitor this weekend. Apple CEO Tim Cook was visiting, and now he's gone viral. It's a tricky place to be, going viral in China. The last time something went viral in China, the whole world had to shut down. This time, it's not so bad, not yet. Tim Cook has gone viral for a speech, one where he said Apple and China had a symbiotic relationship. He said Apple's growth was tied to China's growth. Now, that's quite a statement, given the US-China trade war and the largest sentiment really around business in China. But the Apple top boss said it, and the Chinese media was quick to pounce on it. The timing was even more interesting because of the case of TikTok. Just a few days back, the TikTok CEO was grilled in the US. Western governments are banning TikTok amid security concerns. The US has given it an ultimatum: face a ban in America or leave the Chinese parent company ByteDance. Basically, TikTok, a Chinese company, has its back to the wall in the US, while Apple, an American company, is being celebrated in China. That is the difference that the Chinese media is trying to highlight. Leading from the front was Beijing's mouthpiece, the Global Times. It quoted someone as saying that China is the one that is actually practicing fair and free trade. But it's not as simple as that. Let's look at the facts to understand the full story. Tim Cook was in Beijing to attend the China Development Forum. It's a government-organized event. And what was he going to do except perhaps praise China? Remember, China is a big market for Apple and Apple products as well. Apple earned almost $24 billion in revenue from China in just the last quarter of 2022. So perhaps Tim Cook's words should be taken with more than a pinch of salt, because the ground reality seems a bit different than his speech suggests. You see, Apple is diversifying its manufacturing base. It is looking at countries like India and Vietnam as alternative manufacturing hubs. Apple product manufacturers have agreed to set up multiple factories in India. Taiwanese Apple suppliers like Foxconn, Pegatron and Wistron are all expanding their footprint in India. This is in accordance with Apple's risk reduction plan. And why is Apple diversifying? One reason is its experiences with COVID in China. Remember, Beijing adopted a strict zero-COVID policy to combat the virus. It was forced to repeal the policy last December after mass protests. But zero-COVID greatly damaged the business sentiment while in force. China had imposed draconian measures to try and stop the virus from spreading. It disrupted supply chains across industries. Apple felt the pinch too. You may remember the chaotic scenes at the iPhone plant in Zhengzhou last November. It's the world's largest iPhone manufacturing facility run by Foxconn. Workers there protested, and they were protesting against the brutal lockdown conditions. Some even tried to flee the factory by jumping over fences. The events shook global belief in China. Then, of course, there's the rising US-China tensions. They're fighting over a lot of points, really. TikTok, computer chips, tariffs, and of course, Taiwan. The Taiwan issue may eventually spiral into a full-blown US-China war. So both the zero-COVID policy debacle and the rising US-China tensions seem to have woken up Apple. It's trying to relocate some of the manufacturing, but it can't be done overnight. Even last year, more than 90% of Apple products were made in China. The years of investment in China cannot be undone in an instant. Apple will still have to depend on Chinese manufacturing for some time. So you can expect Tim Cook to keep going to Beijing, keep spouting praise at a Chinese government event. After all, Apple is a business, and China is both a manufacturing base and an important market. So Tim Cook is going to do whatever he has to do to keep his business running smoothly. But as far as China's narrative is concerned, keeping an eye on the ground reality might be a better idea than listening to Cook's speeches in Beijing.